Hello there, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Fork Fix podcast. I'm Cheri, and this episode is titled Stop Overthinking, Just Eat Plants. All right, so let's dig right in. So the first thing I want to talk about is diet mindset. I know I'm not alone in that title, understanding what that is. You know what I'm talking about. It's the counting, the measuring, the weighing, whether it be counting carbs, counting calories, counting the amount of food that you eat, maybe like 1 cup of rice with the side of something else. And you know what I'm talking about. It's that diet mindset. And what I'd like to talk a little bit more about is I am no longer dieting. Yes, I started a whole food plant-based diet well over 8 months ago. I've lost 85 plus pounds. And it was a diet, but now it's absolutely a lifestyle. And that's what I want to kind of dig into. So most anyone with any kind of food issues, someone who's watched their weight at any point or had to cut back, on their carbs if they're insulin resistant or they were told to, or, we're on any kind of a diet, a lot of times we have issues with food. Let's just, put it right out there. You have issues with food. We have a fear of food. I've watched it with some of my kids even. I know that I had it. And I still have it at times. It's that what I'm talking about is you eat good and then you fall off the wagon, which honestly, since I've been eating this way, I haven't done. And because I don't think of it like that. But you know what I'm saying. You eat really well for a while and then you have you binge. Let's just put it out there. You binge, you grab the bag of Doritos, you eat the whole damn thing. Or you make yourself some brownies, you're going to take them to a friend. Didn't end up happening. You ate all the outside, right? Because that's the best part, isn't it? Like the crunchy part on the outside. And then you feel bad for eating like that. So then what do you do afterwards? I can speak for myself. I know that in the past, what I would do is I would food restrict. If I wasn't doing well eating, I would restrict what I ate because I felt like if I, had too much, how am I going to lose weight, right? And I think women, fall prey to this the most. I don't know if men do it or not. Since I am a woman, I can speak to that a little bit more than I can a man, but this might be, it might be both sexes. I don't know. But anyways, you have this tendency to kind of like harm yourself by not giving your body what it needs because you gave it too much, either yesterday or this morning or whatever, or you just decide to skip a meal, which isn't the end of the world. But it's just such a bad way to fuel your body. And I know even for me, I had such a fear of carbohydrates. So starting this way of eating was very difficult for me because it's carb heavy, guys. It's lots of rice and, grains, starchy vegetables. I even eat pasta. And in the beginning, I did not eat those things. I didn't eat them at all before I started this way of eating. So I was afraid to put those things in my mouth because they made me feel so awful. And I am here to tell you, in the beginning, when I first started, I still was having issues with my sugars, and they still would go up when I had oatmeal or when I, had a little bit more pasta than what, like what I felt I should have. And so in the beginning, when I first started, I went slow with those things, with the grains, the starchy vegetables, the potatoes, those types of things. I was kind of mindful of not eating a lot of them because my body was adjusting to this way of eating. So as of now, here I sit, I can eat tons of that stuff and it does not affect me because I got all of the fat out of my cells and my body can function in a proper way now. But when I started, I definitely was careful, and part of that was fear of those items, but I had to kind of get used to it. And that's what I want to talk about. Another thing that I did was I got the Forks Over Knives meal planner, and it's a great tool. In the beginning, I think the overwhelm of trying to eat this way and how do I cook without oil and without meat is my, staple of the center of my plate. How can I do that and still get what I need, right? So the planner was nice, but I found like they send you out each week like a your whole like 5 days of eating, and then what you need, like all the grocery list to get it. But some of the meals didn't appeal to me, so I would swap them out. And then what I found was which you can do, which is great. And I still have the planner because I use it for recipes, certain recipes that I look for. If I want something different, it's really nice to have. But I got away from that pretty quickly because what I had a tendency to do was when I would swap out those recipes, I would pick a lot of the recipes that sounded good. Well, then they were super heavy with like nuts, sauces, things like that. And the more that I was learning as I was eating, those things were heavy. Too much of that stuff was heavy. And it's not that you can't have it. It's just you don't want to have tons of it. So what I'm saying is when you're starting to eat a whole food plant-based diet, you need to just start eating and figuring out what works for you. And something that's really interesting that I have to say just about nutrition in general. So, it's kind of the only science where you can have like competing ideas and then they have the proof to back it up, right? They say, I have this study, and it's competing ideas. And I think it ends up being a science of confusion. And I really think that can stop people, or that can be something that trips you up because you start overthinking. Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough, of like whole, like green vegetables or leafy vegetables? If I don't have enough of this, is my body, we get so afraid because we've been counting and measuring and weighing for so long that transition is a little difficult. And the confusion does even happen in the plant-based movement a bit. And what I'm talking about is there's different ideas of thought in the whole food plant-based movement. You've got Dr. McDougall, which he's the starch solution. So he considers himself more of a starchivore. And I would say probably that's what I tend to eat more. I have a tendency to eat more starches and then add my veg on the side. But then there's also Dr. Esselstyn, who is, he was a cardiologist. He wrote about heart disease. So he is definitely a diehard leafy greens guy because of how that affects your endothelial cells. And he's very low fat, meaning that, and obviously no oil, but for heart patients, no nuts, or very, very few nuts. And then I think low whole food fats even. And then you have someone like Dr. Greger, who does the Daily Dozen. And if you've never even heard of these doctors, which I didn't either in the beginning, I just watched Forks Over Knives, and I think all three of them were actually in that documentary. But I didn't know anything. This was a whole new world to me. So the reason I wanted to share this podcast and talk about this is because as a person, when you're feeding yourself, we have this tendency to want to know what we're doing is right. So we look to other people, other sources. You look, maybe you're listening to what I have to say, and you want to make sure you're right. And you think, well, am I doing what she does? Well, this is the thing. Everybody's body. Can I say that one more time? Everybody, and I mean your body, is different in how it responds to things. Now, do I believe that the whole food plant-based eating is the best for everyone? I do. I honestly do. So I'm like a cheerleader for that. But do I think, what does that look like for you? What is your whole food plant-based diet? It's different. It's all different for everybody because we all have different tastes and different things we like, different things that make us happy, and food should make you happy, even if it's just plants. And let me tell you, don't underestimate the plants, the power of plants. But that's why, like, you look to Instagram, if you're an Instagrammer, or even on YouTube, the videos for what do you eat in a day? I don't care what diet you're on, but if you look, that's popular to like see what other people eat in a day because we're so concerned that maybe we're not getting enough. But we need to trust our bodies. We need to. The thing is with the standard American, this is one thing I do know. The standard American diet today is super calorie dense and in nutrient poor. We're like starving ourselves as a population because our bodies need fiber, and they need minerals, and they need vitamins. Our bodies are crying out for those things, for the fiber, for the vitamins, for the minerals. And a lot of times I think that's why overeating becomes a thing, is because we get those cues that we're still hungry because our bodies aren't getting what they need from the standard American diet. And I'm talking about, even if you're eating the lean meats and low fat cheeses too, if those are like a staple for you, you really need to crowd your plate with plants, really, because your body needs it. It needs the fiber. But this is the thing. The key to all of this is you just need to try stuff. You need to try foods that maybe you haven't tried before, try recipes that you haven't tried. But that in the beginning, that can be intimidating too. So what do I suggest? I suggest taking the meals that you eat right now if you're transitioning and, turn them over into a plant-based meal. So alter them to a plant-based meal. If you eat taco night, you can totally do that plant-based. If I just had a lasagna that we made for my daughter's birthday, it was fabulous. It was so good, guys. You didn't miss that there was any, that there wasn't any meat in it. My dog says hello, by the way. That's Miss Midge. She's a big one. But anyways, you just kind of transform the meals, or if the flavors that you like, and start looking for recipes or things that you can transition to that are whole food plant-based, little to no oil. So I do have a suggestion. Go on Google and start searching WFPB for recipes or whole food plant-based recipes. I've got someone that I absolutely adore his recipes, Shane and Simple. You can look him up. He has a lot of really good, super simple recipes, and you'll love them all. I know that you will. But there's just tons and tons and tons of other resources out there. So the idea here is to really just eat. Don't overthink it. Your body is going to tell you. And I think a lot of times once you start getting the crap out of your diet, because when you have it in your diet, it's really hard to know what your body's telling you. It's confusing your body. So once you get to where you're eating whole food plant-based, and you can learn as you go, you don't have to know everything right away. Just start eating those plants. Add more and more. If you're not ready to cut out all the other stuff yet, just keep crowding that plate with plants, and your body is going to thank you for it. Trust me, it will. It will. So I guess that's really all I have. Just remember that it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. Take it one day at a time, one meal at a time, one fork at a time, and, give yourself some grace. You have a day where it's not as good. That's fine. Just, the next meal, do a little better. Nourish your body a little more. Eat things that serve you better. And remember, don't be screwed by food. Just eat those plants. So thanks for watching and listening. And I hope that you will, hopefully that this is helpful for some of you. But another thing is, check out my blog. I did do a blog post about oil, and it's really good. It talks about, I know that I mentioned in the podcast here about no oil, and it kind of explains it a little bit more, and hopefully that'd be helpful. So over there on forkfix.com, check that out. Find us on Instagram and also on Facebook. And yeah, give us a shout. Say hello. Tell us how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again, and we will see you next week. Bye now.